Unfortunately, Doyel had to apologize. He wrote a column saying, this is where I was convinced I was harmless and right when a woman I deeply respect told me, but Caitlin Clark is a young woman, and you don't talk to a young woman the same as you would a young man. Okay. I thought I was under the impression that we were supposed to treat women and men the same. Yesterday, there was an exchange here with Caitlin Clark. You know, basketball player, very good. Best collegiate player, I think, arguably ever. White girl. So,
wait a minute.
Yeah, I know. And look, okay, I will acknowledge my bias here. You know what? I'm going to acknowledge Pops Crowder's bias. Okay? This is one of those where you're like, is there a little bit of racism? Because my dad walks into the room. He goes, have you seen this Caitlin Clark? I go, what? He goes, she's playing at Iowa, and she's just cleaning up. She's the best girl college basketball player of all time. Like, Dad, I'm guessing she's white.
Well, you did say that.
Yes, I did. Like, otherwise, why would you be following women's basketball? You got to be at least the novelty.
Why? It's the story behind it. I was around during the Larry Bird era, where if Larry were a black player, he'd just be another average guy. Here we have it now. Best female basketball player ever.
Yeah,
it's not open to opinion. She beat Pistol Pete Maravich. If you guys are.
The record, yeah.
The record of it.
In a one-on-one, he would smoke her.
Of course. But, I mean, in terms of points.
Well, if he was playing against women, too.
And so she's getting all the racial slinging. And, you know, Luka Doncic here in Dallas, same thing. You know, best guy in the league. And it all comes down to race all the time. That's where we are. It's very unfortunate. No, it's a big story.
I understand. It's a reaction because people say, oh, they really use identity politics even in sports, where we talk about, hey, how about affirmative action, you know, in the NBA? It's kind of something that's done as a joke. But the truth is, you do see people get a little bit territorial with that sometimes, some of the commentators out there. Not everyone, of course. There are people who say the best player is the best player. But I think that's also why it's been a lightning rod. You can comment below. Let us know what you think about Caitlin Clark. If you do think that's a
when people get frustrated. I think they get frustrated because they're like, oh, now you want to watch because of the white girl? Oh, okay. Yeah. I think that's really coming from. I don't agree with it, but, you know.
But you know what? I mean, it's the same thing, you know, when there's I'm sure it would happen if there's a black guy like in swimming.
Oh, for sure. We'd be like, did you guys hear about Jamal Phelps? The guy.
Yeah.
6 gold medals, no weed. My God. Yeah.
He has wings like an albatross. Oh.
Nearly drowned.
So the term,
he's never wet.
There's been this clip going around that some people, and I saw this from Barstool Sports, saying was sexist, an interaction with a reporter and Caitlin Clark. So right here, we've gone to another form of identity politics. Some are even calling for this guy to be fired. It brings us to a new segment. Is this sexist?
What's wrong with being sexy? Sexist.
All right, this is the first installment. This is
the first installment.
It just happens all the time.
There are going to be more
because we sit back here and we're going like, why is this sexist? Is this a blind spot? I don't see it as sexist.
Missing something.
Even again, we polled women in the office. They're like, no, absolutely not. Maybe Josh has some opinions here, and I think they're valid. I think there are multiple ways to look at this. I don't think sexism is one of the legitimate ways. So this is a reporter, Greg Doyel, I guess from the Indy Star, and he was asking Caitlin Clark a question at I guess her first major press conference.
Hi, Caitlin. Greg Doyel, Indy Star. Real quick, let me do this.
You like that?
I like that you're here. That you're here.
I do that at my family after every game, so.
Okay, well, let's start doing it to me and we'll get along just fine. So, question is.
And for those of you on audio, get your minds out of the gutter. He was doing this, the Bieber heart. He was saying this. He'd do this. Yeah, I do that with my family. We'll be just fine. I was surprised at the outrage from this. They have Dave Portnoy tweeted out, Caitlin Clark's Indiana Fever career begins with Greg Doyel being a sexiest, he wrote, pervert. Well, I assume sexist, but I don't want to put correct words in his mouth. At introductory press conference, Indy Star Sports, do something about this. Is this sexist? What do you guys think? Doing this? Like, do I think that he was it flirtatious? Sure. Do you see that with female reporters and athletes all the time? Yes, more than I can count. I don't know. Is it sexist because she's a woman and she's cute, and he kind of let it be known that he thought she was cute? He was being flattering? I don't get it. Is he seeing her sexist? I mean, he sees her as less than or treats her differently just because she's a woman. He's treating her the way that female reporters often treat male athletes. Am I missing something?
See, I don't think that he was hitting on her. I think he's just an awkward, uncharismatic dude.
Yes.
And it just came out like a weird guy desperately flirting with an athlete.
That's it.
An athlete.
He did this. Right?
Yeah, he did the thing. Yeah, if he could do that to me, it would be just fine. He was trying to make a joke in the moment, and he's obviously not a funny man.
Yeah. I mean, he shouldn't have started licking his nipples. That was
right.
That went wrong.
Part of it, but
yeah, maybe it comes down to charm.
I think he wanted. I think he wanted
like,
part of that 83.5 salary she's pulling.
Yeah. Hey, 72.
Oh,
I saw the numbers, but
okay. No, at least it wasn't the Mike Tyson exchange.
Oh,
I think he did. Yeah, he didn't bite her. I think that this just meant like as a fan, like that's how I thought.
No, he was so glad she was now the franchise. I think, come on.
Well, I mean, I don't.
That's welcoming.
I don't want to be disrespectful, but
if he did it to a dude, then we'd be talking about.
Well, we make fun of him.
I don't see that happening to dudes that often. Like I watch football and baseball and a little bit of basketball, but you said it happens in fighting sometimes, but those guys are half naked.
It happens all the time at weigh-ins. There's a towel, and
they're almost naked. And their bulge coming out. Have you seen Conor McGregor in shorts? He is showing that off.
Yes, he is. Yeah,
he might be a lightweight in the ring, but he's a heavyweight in the bed.
I know. Good for him.
And I don't hear. Yeah, but other sports, I don't hear that. I don't hear really.
In hockey, they had to change the rule to give you an idea because men would give it. I saw Eric Lindros give an interview to a female reporter in the Philadelphia Flyers locker room with his penis out.
But where were her hands?
On the mic.
No, her hands were not.
That's the important part of this.
That's right.
It's not basketball, Dan.
Yeah.
It just changed the rule, right? The towel rule.
Well,
you got to put on a towel.
Or their grays, they call them, which is your undergarments under your equipment. Yeah.
Now, I will say that one, you have a point. I'm kind of surprised that even had to come up. And I'm surprised that anyone was outraged. Like, a bunch of French Canadians, how am I going to do my interview without my penis out? It's make me feel free.
I will say she looked uncomfortable. I think that's where it comes from, is that she looked uncomfortable. It was awkward, and it seems like it's a inappropriate, awkward moment. And I think it's being blown out of proportion by calling it sexist. I don't think anyone's holding her back from anything. I don't think anyone's sexualizing her.
No.
I don't think anybody's objectifying her at all. I think it's just I think it's a guy who reports. He's a beat reporter for a WNBA team, and he finally has something to be excited about. They have the best player in the league.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And I do often go, oh, look, okay, I have a mom, I have a daughter. Hey, I get it. When my daughter's older, if I were to see a guy say like, oh yeah, this, hey, if you do this with me, we'll be all right. I would go, okay. That's a pretty gentlemanly way, even if he is, for example, trying to be a suitor. But all right, there's nothing inappropriate about that. It's not like, come on over here, Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, get over here, you basketball bitch.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like that. I don't think he deserves to be fired. That's what it feels like. Dave's implying that he should be fired. He said, "Hey, Indy Star, what are you going to do about this pervert? Like, he should be fired and let go from his job." That I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a little
covering
too far.
a WNBA team, I don't know how much that can make you, but
may seem like a personal vendetta. Maybe he doesn't like this reporter. I don't know. If this is sexist, though, again, just believe your lying eyes and ears. Here's exactly what happens when the gender roles are reversed.
I'm a primetime player. I came through when it counted and got my second TV. I got one for my living room now and one for my bedroom. So
do you really need two? I mean, can I have one?
Well, you're really good at reading people's minds and anticipating their moves. It probably really helps with women.
It does.
Fifth double-double in the last 6 games. Do you feel as good as you look?
And not appreciate that you have a better manicurist.
Yeah, man, the drip tip.
And with all due respect to your significant other, it is hot.
Shavkat Rachmanov. That man gives me chills.
And by the way, before people get out, the point is none of that should be outrageous.
Right.
She's being funny. She's being cute, Sanko. She's a great reporter. It's her job. It's fine, okay? Not everything is meant to harm you or cause discomfort. Let me ask you this. And if you want to say it's unprofessional, sure. You have to apply that across the board then. It's unprofessional for them to say, you're cute, you look hot, are you feeling as good as you look? Does this work with the women? Apply it across the board. There can be no flirting. There can be no ad-libbing in sports journalism. Or you have to acknowledge that it's not harassment, that it's not assault. And then we have to decide, okay, then how can men make their interest known to women? There are deeper consequences here at play. let's take a bird's eye view here. Somewhere close to 30 to 40% of men under the age of 30 are not going to get married. Why? They're afraid. They're leaving the dating because of this. If a man can't say, oh, I love it. Yeah, you do this. Hey, well, would you like to grab coffee? Without it being seen as inappropriate, guys are just going to say, all right, I'm done. Then I'm not going to fire my shot anymore. Do you realize that with
I don't think he's firing a shot.
No, I don't think he is, but I'm saying even if that were the case, it wouldn't be inappropriate. And in this case, he's doing what sports journalists do.
I think it's inappropriate to,
as a journalist,
ask a question that they can't get out of.
Well, but they do that with male athletes all the time.
Yeah, it's inappropriate.
Okay,
but it's not perverted.
No, it's not perverted or sexist.
Like, come on.
It's inappropriate, but it's not perverted or sexist.
Yeah, that's retarded.
Yeah.
To say.
Yeah,
You know how they say people have a face for radio?
Yeah.
Have you seen print journalists?
Yes, it's quite rough. Yeah.
Have you seen?
I mean, I think
athletes?
perverted is like former vice president, stroking 6-year-olds' faces and sniffing them as they try to escape. As they try and throw the gator roll on him.
Yeah.
He's done it like 3 times this week. We can't even do it this week in Pine. The guy can't stop.
Holding hands with like 6 kids yesterday.
Men are terrified. It's a 50-50 shot, depending where I am in this country. If I hold the door open, if a woman says thank you, or if a woman says I can do it myself, that's the kind of culture that we're creating. Do you want to live in that? Comment below. Women, do you think this is better for you? The other day, there was a woman carrying some heavy bags. I said, hey, do you look like you could use a hand with it? She said, oh, no. She said, I've got it, but thank you. She said, thank you very much for offering. I said, you know what? I spoke with her. I said, I got to let you know, I felt like I was taking a risk saying that because I've had people chew me out. She goes, what? Who would do that? And I'm like, talk to your friends.
Yeah.
Talk to your friends. Start
Good
policing
counsel
your own.
to your friends.
She's like sharing.
I imagine heavy bags as being her boobs.
You're an awful person.
Everything you said was so wrong. Can I help you carry those things, man?
You know what I'm talking about.
Josh went full perverted.
60's the new 50. Daddy's hungry.
It's a hypothetical. I'm just.
It didn't help that I was dressed like a giant baby for no reason.
Yes, yeah. You took your pacifier out and said, replace it.
I just followed her for the next 2 blocks going.
A homeless guy did that to my wife in L.A. No. It was so funny. And then for like the next 2 years, whenever my wife's in a bad mood, I'd go.
Unfortunately, Doyel had to apologize. He wrote a column saying, this is where I was convinced I was harmless and right when a woman I deeply respect told me, but Caitlin Clark is a young woman, and you don't talk to a young woman the same as you would a young man. Okay. I thought I was under the impression that we were supposed to treat women and men the same, according to feminism. Now, I don't subscribe to that. I try and be, there are things that I say to my male friends that I probably wouldn't say. But I do think there is something to be said for this, is you treat women with respect, as far as it relates to respect, with the exact same level of respect that you would grant to a man, meaning it's based on how he's earned it. Men start with, and this is true, men start with each other. There's a baseline level of respect, okay? And then there are different tiers. It depends on the kind of a man they are, right? We don't laud men who we don't know with respect. Say, oh my gosh, you're beautiful. We don't do that with any men. And women out there, I think seeing a man treat you, I'm not saying the jokes, sure, locker room talk exists, but if you see a man who is an absolute germ, right, with his buddies, and then, I just really respect women, that's your signal right there. That is a red flag, and that is what you see on the feminist left. The problem is inauthenticity. It's a lie, which is the theme of the show today. If they're relatively similar in how they interact with you and their male colleagues, you probably are safe. That's my opinion. I don't know. What do you think, Pops?
I agree. No, she had those female reporters had those players blushing.
Yes.
They were affected by those comments.
Yeah.
They couldn't answer right away.
Right.
They were taken off guard. I mean,
and, oh, by the way, this brings us to the former Vice President Biden got in on the women's sports debate. No, not talking about men beating the hell out of them, which he also supports. With this, this gem, he said, women in sports continue to push new boundaries and inspire us all. But right now we're seeing that even if you're the best, women are not paid their fair share. Anytime someone says fair share, you know they're a dick. It's time that we give our daughters the same opportunities as our sons and ensure that women are paid what they deserve. Women in sports continue to push new boundaries and inspire us all, which, by the way, sounds an awful lot like something he said about athletes with disabilities. He just plagiarized himself. And for those on audio, I won't repeat it so we don't have to bleep it.
That's a very patronizing statement.
Yes.
They continue to push boundaries and inspire us all. Are they disabled? Because they're not dunking. So I don't know, like, what.
Huh? Retards are just as good as white kids.
What? Yeah, exactly.
Nobody undercuts his own
Very
argument.
much like that.
He said they need the same opportunities as men, and then they need to be paid their fair share. So they need the same results.
Yeah.
There's this problem.
Well, if they
he
need
doesn't even see that as a problem.
Yeah. Well, if they need the same opportunities, then we would need to, if we need to equalize it, we would need to have biological men compete against superhuman men, because that's what women are facing right now in college sports. They need the same opportunities. Throw some linebackers in there in a wig.
Wow.
Just get rid of weight classes entirely.
Yes, exactly. It's progress for the sake of progress. It cannot be consistent. That's where we are. How does Joe Biden sit there with a straight face and tweet out, women need the same opportunities men do as far as sports, at the same time as supporting biological males in women's sports?
Well, he didn't tweet that, to be clear.
Oh, he didn't. What? So his support for?
I mean, he's got like interns and people who.
Yes.
Office.
Josh, is there a WNBA team in D.C.?
Yes, they're called. No, I don't.
I don't care what they're called.
Called the Embezzlers.
I don't know.
I wonder if Biden has ever supported that.
Yeah,
Biden, are you a season ticket holder?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Go watch it.
Women don't watch it.
Be the change you seek, dummy. So here's the claim that you'll see from them all the time, and we've done this before, but this bears repeating, that WNBA players don't get paid enough.
Caitlin Clark, her rookie deal, 4 years, and she's well paid. Brittany Griner had to go to Russia because of how poorly we pay and have always paid in this sport.
Boo-hoo.
She was selling drugs.
$338,000. So she gets in 2025, $78,000. 2026, $85,000. 2027, $97,000. So she would qualify for low-income housing in San Francisco.
What?
Is she playing in San Francisco?
She'll be paid less than the average salary of a union nurse, teacher, or cop.
$76,000 is not enough for someone you are looking to be the face of the league going forward. No other professional sports league would do something like that, and it's a shame.
You made the point that it was kind of funny how they inadvertently.
Yeah, that they inadvertently exposed themselves to how bad inflation is. That $76,500, $530. I looked at that number exactly. $76,535 is $6,535 more than I was making a year ago.
So you qualified for low-income housing in San Francisco.
And I thought I was doing pretty damn good. I owned a home and everything.
Well, you know what? That money goes pretty far in Gary, Indiana.
Yeah, it should.
Just to be clear. Now, here's the truth.
At least he doesn't play for Washington.
She's not in Gary. How far is that from Indianapolis?
I have no idea. There's nothing good in Indiana. By the way, this is going to be a huge boon to the economy in Indiana, because what people fail to realize is Indiana is very close to Chicago, to major cities in Michigan. So as opposed to major cities in the middle of a state, like people are going to be coming in from out of state to see her. That's actually going to have an impact on the state economy. As far as the claim that they don't make enough money, here's the truth. The WNBA doesn't generate any money. So the annual revenue, to give you an idea, the WNBA, it's around 180 to 200 million. That's their gross revenue. The NBA is 10 billion.
Right.
Wait, with a B?
Yes, with a B. The TV rights, okay? The WNBA, 65 million. Okay, that seems pretty. The NBA, 2.8 billion. 2/3 of the WNBA money is directly from a joint deal.
There's the stat right there.
With the NBA.
Even those numbers are fluffed by the male side of the sport.
Yes.
By 2/3.
So
oh my goodness.
Let's go on to another claim here that they're making. Here's a claim that WNBA players, they want to be paid the same, their fair share, their same portion as NBA players.
We are not asking you to get paid what the men get paid. We're asking you to get paid the same percentage of revenue shared.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Got it. So that's a huge misconception.
That's a huge misconception.
Got it.
For sure. Yeah, because every video is like, oh, this person gets paid this person gets paid that, right?
So I want to be really clear about that. Like, I don't think I should get paid the same as LeBron.
Good. So
yeah, neither should most of the NBA players.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's kind of the best.
Here's the truth. If we're talking about being paid their fair share, all right, She's talking about gross revenue, so it's true. The WNBA, right? The players make about 20% of the gross revenue from the league. Okay, whereas the NBA, they make about 50% of the gross revenue. We gave you those numbers. I don't know if you know this. There's a big difference between gross revenue and net. Here's the issue. In reality, the WNBA loses money. Right? So the NBA net profit is about $3 billion a year. The WNBA net profit is negative $10 million a year. So if they want to be paid the proper percentage, the WNBA players will now be paid in invoices.
Woo, that's lovely.
Oosh, I stayed in Russia.
I thought we were talking WNBA. What was that?
And isn't their season like 4 months?
I have no idea.
Like they work less than teachers, I think.
Well, there's like 9 teams in the league. As of 2018, the WNBA has never turned a profit. Those are the last financials. I'm not very transparent with them. All references are available at louderwithcrowder.com. This is the theme. Feminists, third wave feminists, and people on the left, they don't want what they deserve. I deserve my fair share. Do you really? Do you really want your fair share? Do you really want what that minimum wage job actually pays without the artificial inflation that we see by these mandates, either coming from the federal government or state government? Do you really want your fair share? WNBA players, do you really want your fair share as it relates to percentage of the profits? Hey, you want to benefit in the profits? You're also on the hook for the liabilities. How about that? Do you really want your fair share? Do you really want fairness in being treated just like a man? Because I see a lot of the things that you say, and for some reason, you don't get slapped. I'm not advocating slapping women. I'm saying if you were a man, that would be exactly the case.
I'd like to make the same money as Dave Chappelle, but tickets aren't coming in.
Not the same level as Dave. None of us are. And he's a black guy. I don't understand any of this anymore. Oh, wait, that's right, Richard Pryor. Oh, wait, hold on a second. That's right, Eddie Murphy. Oh, that's right. When things are allowed to operate organically, seems that in some cases, actually minorities, are overly represented through skill and talent. They get what they deserve. Notice you don't hear a lot of black people complaining that there's a discrepancy in comedy. Why?
You actually do hear that quite a bit.
You hear from black lesbians. You don't hear from black men. You do not hear from black men as a movement. There's no march being started that comics need to. 40%, last time I checked, 40% of the top 10 comics of all time were black.
40 games they play. 40 games from May. I don't know this for a fact, but I believe the NBA is 82.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
If it is 82, they play literally half the games and want to be paid the same amount. That's insane.
Well, I just read the other day that they said, let's see how Caitlin handles the WNBA grind.
Grind, 40 games.
40
all
games.
40 games of them?
Yeah. A couple practices a week. I don't know. They probably practice every
She's already ordering Mai Tais.
Yeah, can confirm NBA is 82 games a year.
So 82 games.
They play less than half of the NBA games.
They literally play the NBA off season. Literally.
That should work out for basketball fans. Like if you love basketball, you watch the NBA, boom, it's over. What's next? It's like NFL, XFL. There you go. WNBA, watch it.
Well, you want to be treated
though.
Just as the men, as Isaiah Thomas pointed out, WNBA players, we'll grant this, are just as skilled as NBA players.
So Candace, let me ask you this question, because you have a similar skill set to AD, with the exception of, his jumping ability, dunking, and everything else, but
wrong.
Such a passive-aggressive burn.
What's left?
You're just
Do you skate well?
You're just as good as a doctor as anybody else. I mean, with the exception of your surgical skills, your knowledge, your residency, and
well, Isaiah's the guy that made the Larry Bird comments, as you know.
Yeah, no, I know.
Very racial.
He's also a troll, though. He just likes to get people riled up. But
I don't know how many MVPs Larry won. But...
He played in Tacoma.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
And let's go. It's okay. You want to be treated exactly the same? All right. That's a big part of it. I don't know if you know this. People really want to watch men who conduct. They want to watch athletic freak shows. That's what professional sports are. Have you ever actually walked into the locker room or been around an NBA team or an NFL team? They are actually, it's almost like and by the way, this includes people of all races. I'm talking about these crazy super athletes. You can also take World's Strongest Man. They are closer to gorillas than they are to you as the average human male. It's not even close. They're like at least a whole half human larger, 2 times faster. These are people who are picked because of their God-given athletic ability. Of course, they refine it. Go stand in a room. Go to one, and you can do this with strongmen. You go to like the Arnold Classic. Go in a room with Brian Shaw, Half Thor, Eddie Hall. You could put them in a lineup, you and a gorilla and an alien would land today and think that Half Thor and Brian Shaw were of the species of the gorilla, because that's what sports is. It's not about being the same. You pay for the greatest athlete. Jumping is kind of big. Dunking is kind of big. So if you don't have those abilities, you'll be paid like the men who can't do it in the NBA. The problem that we run into with this equality issue is that there are more men who've walked. And I know what you're going to say. More men who've been to space? No. More men who've been to the moon? There are more men who've walked on the moon than women who have dunked ever.
On a standard rim?
No. By a significant margin.
Yes.
I just did the math. That 76,000, that's 153, almost $154,000 if they play a full season.
Yes.
I didn't even think about this element of the equation, is that they're playing half the games.
Right? At a $10 million loss.
Wow.
Yeah.
Think about that. And by the way, this also has to do with market demand. There's someone who transcends the sport, like Caitlin Clark. Here's the beauty of this. She's going to get paid. Why? Because people want to watch her. Now, relatively speaking, she's incredible with the competition that she's facing. While she was at University of Iowa, she was paid around $3 million when you look at the endorsements. She's looking at an 8-figure deal with Nike alone that could include her own shoe. So there are people who are willing to pay if you are really good, if you are someone who they think is a good ambassador. You're paid what? Your worth. Isn't that what equality is supposed to be? This is where we see equal opportunity versus ensured equal outcomes. That's the issue with the WNBA, and it's the same issue that you see with wealth redistribution, whether it's a socialist country, a communist country, or the current DNC. You cannot support equal opportunity and then demand equal outcomes. You do have to pick one. You have to pick one because they cannot coexist. And let's be honest, a lot of people are just pissed that a white girl from Iowa is the only thing who's bringing attention to women's basketball.
I get it.
She's taking advantage of that notoriety, and she's actually going to be starring another endorsement deal in the upcoming Spaceman. That's going to be a big deal. Good for her.
Oh, nice.
A little tired of the remakes. Ticket sales don't lie. And by the way, it provides clarity here, the market, after exhaustive research and looking at the ticket sales. It's clear what sports fans are willing to spend their cash on. Men.
Top men.
The good news is you can solve the problem of today's greatest civil rights infractions. Just pay for some tickets to the WNBA.
And enjoy it.
Enjoy it.
Right.
Yeah, get some popcorn, a hot dog.
Yep. Go there.
Souvenir, park the car.
Absolutely.
Buy a shirt.
Yep.
And revenue.
And to answer your question, yes, they do validate parking.
They actually don't.
There goes a revenue
source. But it's quite cheap.
Yes. Almost free.
It's amazing what kind of deals you can get out there. It's like going to a single-A baseball game.
Yeah. It's the only place where
They're not paid well either.
You can call one of the coaches and say, where do I park? They say, anywhere in the street is fine.
I mean, screw it. Park in left field. We don't care.
That's a good point, though, Josh. Minor pro sports, male minor pro sports, that's pretty fun. I mean, you take your family. It's high level. It's not the best.
Oh,
but you can get a dog, a Coke, a beer, and park the
it.
car and a souvenir for the kids. And it's a day out or a night out. And it's good enough.
We used to go to Tacoma Rainiers games all the time. AAA team in Tacoma.
Oh, AAA is
awesome.
Right on the cusp of.
You get pro players. I got to watch All Stars pitch, 20 feet away from the plate.
Yeah. Wouldn't good AAA teams beat maybe non-playoff contending major league teams?
Maybe the Oakland A's right now, but because they're not doing so great. But no, it's a great. Yeah, I love those little games. You can probably the WNBA probably has something like that.
Minor pro hockey is a blast.
We used to have a 4-ticket deal. You get 4 tickets and 4 Chick-fil-A sandwiches on Sunday, which was they're closed on Sunday, so I think they're Saturday's chicken. But it was still. That's true. It really. Nice.
I thought you were gonna say it was a false promo. Where it's like, get your free Chick-fil-A.
No,
and Sunday
it's a real deal.
like, it's closed.
It's a real deal.
Waffle fries are disgusting.
It's a bad chicken sandwich promo. We're not gonna lie. The chicken sandwich promo with no chicken sandwich. We need to get our marketing experts on this. And here's what you're talking about too is those players are happy to be paid to have an opportunity. Kind of like when you're doing comedy. You know if you're an MC or you know if you're middling at a certain point, you're getting stage time. People are not there to see you. You take the check. It's very different once you reach a certain level and you can draw people and you can sell tickets. The equation changes. This whole thing about fair share, it really is anti-biblical, and that's kind of what we're seeing with everything here. And I mean this. We are told as Christians to be grateful, right? And the idea is to be grateful and content, but not necessarily ever satisfied. It's okay to strive for more, because if you are grateful for what you have but not satisfied, you start with a base, man, I'm grateful. Whatever it is, I have a roof over my head. Even if you don't, you're grateful. Everything else is earned. It's really the prescription as far as what Christians believe, and this is why we go back to you cannot be a Bible-believing Christian and think that you're entitled to a fair share just because you say so. You are entitled to what you earn, and you need to be grateful for what you have. And we see it play out in real life. Those people with that mindset, guess what? They're happier, and they tend to be more successful. Go read books on any of the wealthiest, any of the most successful athletes. All of them were grateful, and all of them were borderline obsessive compulsive about trying to achieve more. And so they worked their asses off. This idea of someone just being born with it, whether it's a billionaire being born with daddy's money in a trust fund, it almost never happens. You'll find some people who have millions right in a trust fund, but as far as the most successful, the elite of the elite, the idea of Michael Jordan's, of Wayne Gretzky's, of anyone like of Brian Shaw, who we've had in the show, George St. Pierre, you look at any of these elite people, all of them were grateful for anything they had, and boy, did they work their ass off because they were afraid that it would either slip through their fingers or they wouldn't earn it. How about that mindset? You know what? Have that mindset, and maybe you'll achieve great things.
Watch Slider with Crowder live Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.